How we doing out there, everybody? My name is Kyle. I'm joined by Keenan, and together we form the Warner Brothas podcast.
Hey, how you guys doing out there tonight?
Let's get right into it. Very dramatic Tuesday night in the NBA. Magic Johnson stepping down as the Lakers' president of basketball operations. Safe to say nobody saw this coming. It was one of the most shocking, bizarre nights in the NBA that I can remember. On top of that, you had Dirk and Dwayne Wade's last home games. Completely overshadowed by one Magic Johnson. Keen, what was your reactions last night as you got notifications on your phone and such?
Well, obviously, Wade and Dirk's last games are going on, so...
Thought we were going to enjoy that.
Yeah, you thought you were going to enjoy that. Then the Thunder-Rockets game, great game. Then there's great games all around.
Preview, you know?
Jamal Crawford, 51, Donovan Mitchell, 46, and then everything gets just blown away by Magic Johnson stepping down, and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on?
Not only did he just step down, he stepped down basically impromptu. He just came out of wherever before the Lakers-Blazers pregame and was like, hey, I'm out. And everyone was like, what the fuck? Obviously. Was it random? I would say, yeah. Everyone said they had zero expectation this was coming. There was no inclination this was coming.
No, because he didn't tell anyone. He didn't know how to tell Jeannie Buss. He didn't tell LeBron.
We'll get into what Magic did and didn't do.
Okay,
let's just start with...
I'll calm down on that.
Let me just give you a replay of my Tuesday night, okay? So I got home from work at about 6 p.m. Me and you talk about... I used to watch First Take and such. I used to really keep up on my ESPN and my sports and all that. I still keep up with the sports, but I'm not watching the TV end as much. I happen to have the 6 o'clock Sports Center on. Stephen A. was hosting.
Oh, they don't have...
talking
do they have Michael Smith on that?
I'm not sure. This is one I just happened to tune into. Stephen A. was hosting. And they happen to be talking about the next head coach of the LA Lakers. Mm-hmm. Presumed that Luke Walton would be gone next season. Mm-hmm. And they actually said the report, and I'm sure you heard this yesterday too, was that Luke Walton and Magic Johnson had not spoken in weeks. Obviously, that would give you the inclination that Magic and Rob Pelinka and whoever, Jeannie Buss, was going to fire Luke Walton. Literally, fast forward, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours later, I get a text from our boy Steven, and he's like, Lakers, what the fuck? I'm like, what do you mean? I go and check. Magic stepped down. Just as simple as that. Quick as that.
I was going to say, I got a Bleacher Report update on that. And that instantly made me think, I was like, okay, so I thought Luke was out the door, but I guess it's Magic they chose, or he chose, or whatever happened.
It was all just bizarre as hell. The only word I can use for it is bizarre. So then, I'm following on Twitter, like everyone else, and watching Magic's presser that he gives, where he basically says... Man, it was really hard for me not to congratulate Westbrook on his triple-double achievement.
Or Wade or Dirk on his last night, and he couldn't help out Ben Simmons because when Ben Simmons wanted to talk to him and all that nonsense.
Which, you know, he was hired in February 2017. It's April 2019. You think he would have picked up on, you know, what he could and couldn't do. It feels like a very weird time, you know, especially Magic Johnson, who's an ambassador for the NBA. You'd figure, I know. Go ahead.
I was about to say one of the 5 most important NBA figures ever.
You'd figure he'd be argue. Like, hey, Dirk's last home game. Like, if there's anybody who knows those type of moments, it's Magic Johnson. He, first of all, says, I could not tell my sister, Jeannie Buss, this to her. None of this makes sense. So you go out on TV, so she has to find out that way? Mm-hmm. Like, what do you think about that?
I just thought that if she's your sister, like if I was going to tell you something as brothers, I would I wouldn't have you go watch a press conference saying that, oh, hey, I'm leaving this or whatever. Like, I would talk to you because I would give you that respect due to the fact that you're my brother. You're my brother. You're in deep relations. But
not to mention this is his boss, so it was completely unprofessional.
Yeah.
So we got the greatest point guard of all time. Not only that, Mr. Laker. There is nobody more connected to the Lakers franchise than maybe Kobe, than Magic Johnson.
No.
That's it. This is like, you think Magic, Kobe, and obviously the Bus family, but he could have done this on a Thursday before, those 2 days where the regular season's really off, right before the playoffs, or waited after the playoffs, anytime, and he decided to do it before a Lakers game. And by the sounds of it, the gist of it was he wanted to fire Luke, and Jeannie was having a tough time with it.
Yeah, he said also she didn't want to have Jeannie choose between him or I. He said that, and when I heard that, I kind of was like, but then the thing that also made me kind of pause for a second was the fact that when they asked him about Luke Walton, he didn't say he was a good coach. He said Luke Walton's a good guy. And that made me, I was like, and then sometimes we didn't see eye to eye. He tried to refrain from doing anything negative, but didn't want to point out that Luke was a good basketball mind in a sense, because him and Luke did not see eye to eye.
As much as it sounds like that could have been BS, it did sound like Luke Walton did the exit interviews today, and that they may or may not be keeping him on. I have no clue there, but just all of it together between him being the face of the Lakers, understand the NBA, and just abruptly just quitting on a Tuesday night when it should have been about Dirk and Dwayne Wade, and he just completely stole the show, stole the spotlight from both of them, which, I think we will remember Dirk and Dwayne Wade. I mean, we'll get into that.
Oh, yeah.
I think the people who watch that will remember, but man, there's no doubt that was the biggest news of the night.
The weirdest thing to me about this was he kept reiterating the point that I have a great life and that I want to get back to my great life, like being a Laker, president of basketball operations for the Lakers was like a torment.
Let's get into the things that Magic kept reiterating last night. So he said, he kept saying Jeannie's like a sister. Mm-hmm. Didn't treat her like a sister.
No.
This goes without saying, as I said. Mr. Laker.
Mm-hmm.
Not very Mr. Laker-like of him.
No.
What else here? Hardly any mention of LeBron James last night. I mean, he mentioned him in passing, like, oh yeah, but it kind of seemed to me when I heard all this was not necessarily what did LeBron do, but if you have LeBron James on your team, you go out of your way to sign him. I mean, I think LeBron was going there no matter what, but I don't know. It seems like you'd be wanting that job more than anything.
Especially since he got there, as you said, in February 2017. LeBron in his mind after that point was like, okay, we got Magic in LA. Not that he even had that in his mind at that point, but okay, Magic's in LA. If I go there, I know the entrepreneur, I know the guy who's savvy, who can go get me the pieces I need to be successful, and then abruptly he's like, nah, I'm out.
Not only that, like if this was, let's say he was the Raptors president of basketball operations or Raptors GM, and he did this, it would be whatever. It would still be like, wow, what the hell? Like, that's crazy. But the fact that he did this to his own franchise that he's been connected to forever and will continue to be connected to makes no sense to me. None of this makes sense. Not 1 second of this makes sense. And especially the whole Jeannie's my sister. He didn't really talk about Rob Pelinka in his first presser. Didn't even mention him.
I didn't hear him say his name once I watched like 15 minutes worth of interviews. I didn't hear Rob once.
He's been mentioned in passing, I think, since, but yeah, I mean, didn't give the most encouraging, like you said, that, I wasn't going to fire, or maybe I was going to fire Lou. It was just all weird, and he made it all about himself, and it was pretty disappointing, to be honest.
The thing about it that got me was, one, him saying great life got me because he made just the way that came off to me was a little weird. And also, watching the press conference, he seemed almost too happy to walk away, if you know what I mean. Like,
he mentioned backstabbing. He mentioned a few things that made it sound like he was really not having fun in the Lakers organization, which if that's true, fine, but tell your boss that. I don't know why you're in front of all these people talking about how now you'll get to tweet. Like, if that was seriously a hang up that he wasn't allowed to tweet and congratulate players, like,
now
come
we
on,
can
Magic.
go work out with Ben Simmons. Like,
let me ask you a quick question, Keenan. Who is largely known as Magic Johnson's best professional friend?
Larry Bird.
What's Larry Bird's title with the Pacers?
The Great White Hope.
No, like, what's his title?
President of Basketball Operations.
Don't you think, 2.5 years ago, Magic was, hey, Larry Bird, thinking about taking this job. Anything I should know? You think 2 years later now, he's like, damn, wasn't fair that I was involved in like, why wouldn't you do that before any of this? Like,
yeah, I was gonna say, he made it seem like he came into it unprepared. It seemed like he was just like, okay, I'm a Laker, I'm pretty much the face of the Lakers, let me just go into this role and let Magic be the reason why magic happens, pun intended, for the LA Lakers.
That's what he wanted, yeah, and it seems like he didn't do any other part of that. I just don't understand why it's such a belated, like, man, now I can tweet, now I can do this. It's like, you didn't know this 2 years ago, you didn't know this in the past, or when this whole LeBron and Anthony Davis drama was going on. And so let me go ahead.
It just makes no sense to me. I was caught completely off guard, and then the timing of it's even worse. Like, the season still, I mean, obviously the season would still be going on in the playoffs, but like the regular season still going on. Mm-hmm. And what was Jeannie Buss showing up to the Lakers game, and then just, wait, Magic's not my...
So again, the timeline of all this, like I said, last night or sometime during the day, report that Magic and Luke not communicating for weeks. Standard. Magic steps down. Crazy. Jeannie and the Lakers, I think right before the Laker game, like right before the Lakers and Blazers tipped off, they put out a statement thanking Magic. Crazy. In between all that, you have NBA writers and all this trying to dissect it, wondering what the hell's going on. Woj went for the throat on Magic, which was one of the highlights of the night. That was insane. Basically saying, like you said, how unprepared he was, how more or less lazy he was as the president of operations for the Lakers. It was just wild. I don't know if I still have recovered from last night, all that went on. And then you had just this whole NBA season. It started with the Jimmy Butler drama. That was what? That was in preseason, right before the regular season started. Mm-hmm. Then we had, at the first Lakers home game, the Chris Paul, Rondo, Brandon Ingram brawl / spitgate. Think about that. That was LeBron's first Lakers home game, and the last Lakers home game ended with Magic stepping down. That is one of the most dramatic seasons a franchise ever had, and that's just 2 nights. That didn't even... That's not to mention the Anthony Davis trade saga.
The 18-game injury for LeBron. Then you have everyone else getting injured. Them LeBron missing the playoffs for the first time in 15 years. I think it was 14, but gosh, it was just such a weird year in LA.
I could do a whole Lakers podcast on their season, and we probably will, maybe in the off season, but keeping this Magic Johnson centric. Wow. That's all I really have to say is wow from last night, because there's still going to be more that we hear going into the off season and such. Excuse me. And, this is only the beginning. Really.
I think that this actually somehow gonna help the Lakers.
Well, yeah, they're gonna get an actual,
They're gonna get an actual
you know,
human being, I guess.
someone who's actually gonna put the work in. And, you know, they're gonna have their pick of the litter because, you know, they're gonna be able to pay whoever, and it's the Lakers' job, and we're gonna see, you know, what they attract. So, if you haven't heard his original presser where he steps down, I'll play you a clip right now. Listen up.
Incredible interview that you had. And then also I've been thinking about the great meetings I had with Jeannie the last couple of days.
Had a couple meetings with Jeannie. Great meetings with Jeannie the last couple days. His sister. Didn't think to tell her. Okay.
And so today I'm going to step down, Mr. President.
Oh.
And I think I don't want to, her and I have such an amazing relationship.
Looks it.
And I think that she gave me full power to do what I wanted to do. But I think that with her and I want to always preserve our relationship.
And what better way to do that?
I think that I had more fun when I was able to be the big brother and ambassador to everybody. You know, I thought about Dwayne Wade retiring tomorrow, and I can't even tweet it out or can't be there.
Keen question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You think Magic Johnson has Dwayne Wade's mobile phone number?
If he doesn't have it, I'm pretty sure the best player on his team does, so he could get it pretty simply.
Do you think they're friends on Facebook Messenger?
Does Magic use Facebook?
Maybe. That's a demographic.
I'm gonna just say if literally he could go get it from, hey Bronny, you want to go give me D Wade's number so I can text him and congratulate him on a 16-year career that was fantastic?
Just picture, let's say Magic doesn't quit last night. Everything else goes, you know, Dwayne Wade's last home game, Dirk's last home game. Is Magic like circling the Staples Center, running around like, somebody take my phone, please? Before I tweet about Dwayne and Dirk tonight, like what's he doing? Is it that hard? Because man, does he sound like a 13-year-old social media addict.
Oh my god, I just want to tweet about Wade. Oh, Dirk, I want to mention Bird's there and I can't be there. Wait, time out. Actually, he said he couldn't be at Wade's final game, but Bird's at Dirk's final game.
Exactly.
They're under the same
exactly why we're saying
title.
this is bizarre. Larry Bird was there to congratulate Dirk.
I actually
There
just
was
thought of
zero
that.
way in Magic Johnson's mind for him to let Dwayne Wade know that, in fact, that Magic saw the game or knew that it was his last game at home, other than to tweet.
Obviously.
Magic did the interview with Rachel Nichols after, reiterated very happily that he can tweet again. Oh, let's play a little more of this presser.
Serena Williams called me a week ago and said, will you mentor me and be on my advisory board? And I said, yeah, I'm going to do that. You know, and so when Ben Simmons called, we went through the proper channels.
Right.
And they made me look like the bad guy out of that situation. But I didn't do anything wrong, but do everything right.
So that means, in Magic Johnson's eyes, you remember the story, correct? Magic wanted to work out with Ben Simmons in the offseason.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Sorry. Essentially, he just chose Serena Williams and Ben Simmons over the Los Angeles Lakers.
That's what it sounds like to me. That's it.
Well, I want to go help out Serena. I want to go work out with Ben Simmons.
And it just occurred to him within the last day that, man, this isn't for me. I better, before I do anything else that's, terrible, I better quit right before our home game without letting ownership know. He thought that was the better option.
Without letting... Without
letting his sister know.
I was going to say, he didn't let Jeannie know. He tried to say stuff or like, I'm not coming back to certain people in the organization. He tried to
mention
say or whatever.
backstabbing.
I don't even know.
And I guess we could say this was more tragic Johnson than Magic Johnson. Is that fair to say?
Was that his 82 headline, or what year was that? That he had that headline after the finals?
Tragic Johnson. One of the I think might have been the 84 finals
84.
or something.
Yeah.
So, in general, Magic, known as a competitive guy, known as a guy with a big ego. I mean, his name's Magic Johnson.
Mr. LA.
Mr. LA. Mr. Laker. So he has LeBron James on his team. And he's happier now being away from all this. Do you think that's more...
I'm free, my love.
Do you think that's more just in general, the whole, like, he's saying the day-to-day stuff about him, like, with the tampering, or do you think that's really like, yo, this is a mess, the whole LeBron situation is not what I was expecting, this is a mess, I'm gonna get the hell out, who cares if this is a home game, I'm getting out of here? Because he says he's gonna be around for the playoffs and watch it, which we would expect, like, still Magic Johnson, but what do you think?
I would probably have to put it like 70% he wanted to get out of there, and 30% that he enjoyed everything he had before. Because he has a lot of business stuff, because he's a very good businessman. He can go help other people. I think that has something to do with it.
I think it has something to do with it.
But I think it was more so like a, wow, this sucks here in LA. This is not what I thought. And I actually have other things I can do, so bye.
I think the timing of it and the way it happened, I honestly think if Jeannie Buss really said, like, no, we're not going to fire Luke Walton, and Magic wanted to, and she said he gave him that power, none of it really adds up. Some of it sounds like a Luke Walton thing. Some of it sounds like a LeBron James thing. It's definitely now all a Magic Johnson thing. It's crazy. Craziness.
Segue into the more important things of the night.
You done with that topic? I could probably go on for hours about that.
We could write a book about the LA Lakers 2018-2019.
There will be a Lakers podcast in the future. I want to ask you, because Dwayne Wade's been your favorite player since you were a kid growing up. Last night was his final home game. Thoughts, feelings? Go ahead.
Sad to see it end. Sad to see it. It really is just, it's going to be a weird league without D Wade in it for me, because ever since I've been watching basketball, he's been my favorite player, been in the league, been doing great things, and it ended, I liked the way it ended. The video tribute was really good. I really liked the video tribute. How they had Act 1, 2, and 3. I'm glad they were able to get a lot of people there. I wish LeBron would have just been like, no Lakers, and just came there because he's injured anyway. That would have actually been cool, but...
I half expected that, but...
I did too. But it's sad to see him go. It was kind of sad to see Kobe go. It was like that kind of same thing, but it's even more because Wade's been my guy since day one. He ended with 30, or didn't end with 30 because I think they have a game tonight, but he ended with 30. He's not Kobe for 60, but it's a sad day.
It is. It'll be a weird league without Dwayne Wade and without Dirk.
Another one of my top 5 favorite players ever, pretty much. Dirk's always been up there for me too, but...
How did this season in general feel for you? Like, because Dwayne Wade said since the beginning this was his one last dance. He wouldn't let us forget that.
I need a one dance.
What did you think the whole season, how it felt as far as being a Heat fan, as far as being a Dwayne Wade fan? Like, what did it feel like for y'all?
Sad that they're not in the playoffs, because it would have been nice to see playoff Wade one more time. Mm-hmm. The season felt... Going in with the roster, they're not winning a championship this year. Obviously, realistically, you're going to look at it, they're not going to win. So you went into the season like, okay, hopefully Wade can have some of those moments. I just wanted some more Wade moments. I wanted to see him compete, and it it was, I don't know, almost bittersweet in a sense, but just hard because you knew every game Wade was doing like the whole jersey swap thing. So it kind of almost like not kick you when you're down, but kind of just reminds you every time that, okay, the greatest player in the history of our organization's leaving. And it was every night. Mm-hmm. Compared to something like Dirk where you didn't know Dirk. I mean,
where they kicked his ass out of the league.
I was going to say, you assume Dirk was not going to play another season, but he didn't basically let you know until last night, like, this is my
until they're like, hey, game. Dirk, let's go, buddy.
But we're sick of the cane you bring on the court.
We got Deadlift here.
Team now.
We got Pippen here. We got Barkley here. Most of the Cowboys are here. Time to pack up your things and go.
They both dropped 30.
Yes.
It's kind of weird how they both dropped 30 on their same night, but
thoughts on Dirk, his career or his exit? Like, you gave us some. What do you think of all the tributes and such last night?
I liked the Dirk tribute last night. It was cool how they had everyone that he said he looked up to come there and give him a speech and everything.
Yeah, it was great.
I liked that a lot. The tribute was good itself. That was also another good atmosphere. I mean, Mark Cuban's going to go above and beyond to do anything for his own. So,
and he's absolutely a beloved Dallas athlete, which is saying something given, that's where the Cowboys play. So
they're not even a basketball first
at all
place.
At all. And Dirk is, I mean, I can't speak for Dallas. I don't know if he's top 5 athletes ever there, but definitely top 10. Mm-hmm. I don't know where he ranks amongst the Cowboys greats, but it's an interesting conversation to have. My thoughts on the finales last night of Dwayne and Dirk, what struck me was how different they felt. I would say through the years I've been more of a Dwayne Wade fan than a Dirk fan, just as far as watching. I just watched him a little more growing up.
This game's a little bit more fun to watch.
More fun to watch, right. And, Dirk obviously grew to love him too. He's got such a unique game and go on and on. But the difference in, I don't want to say importance, but the difference in how Dirk's finale felt last night and even Kobe's finale felt a couple years ago compared to Dwayne's last night was just fucking weird. And
it almost felt gone too soon for Wade compared to like Kobe and Dirk who were ready.
Wade, I have no clue what to make of Wade's like, it just feels so contrived. I feel like he forced these last, how long is it? From November to now. I feel like he's forced.
6 months.
6 months. Feels like he's forced all this. Like, hey guys, I'm retiring. Don't forget about me. I know you guys love LeBron and Kobe, but don't forget about me. That's what all this feels like with me, with Dwayne Wade. The whole one last dance thing, the jersey swap, like none of it felt genuine to me, No,
I get you. It's weird because if he was LeBron, it almost would be almost not more. I mean, people would hate on it more, but it'd almost be more justified because, like, only in the sense that like LeBron is a pantheon like top 3 in my opinion player ever. So I guess it'd almost be more justified if you know what I mean. Wade's a great, but if you know what I'm meaning by that.
But Wade's like great. He doesn't need to do all this. That's what I don't understand. And I feel, and I was texting Steven this last night. Actually, I just feel like Wade pretty much the last 5 years has pretty much been like whatever. Like, what do you think is Dwayne Wade's most, I don't want to say iconic, but what's the most memorable moment Dwayne Wade's had since LeBron left? Excluding last night, like just a moment.
Playoffs, 2016 playoffs.
Is that with the Charlotte Hornets?
That was the Charlotte Hornets.
With the backpack dude.
I was going to say, yeah, that was the Charlotte Hornets because Game 6 and Game 7 he went clutch, and then against the Raptors went clutch against them. So that's probably his most iconic, like the most memorable moment, I would say.
One moment. That's Dwayne Wade.
I was gonna say it's been that, and then actually, if you want to be memorable, he left and then came back.
Well, I mean in game
moment, yeah. But that and
compare that to how
Other
LeBron's going out in his career, assuming he plays the remainder of this contract. Let's say he retires at the end of this contract with the Lakers. I feel like LeBron will have a few more moments in this. Who knows? Kobe had moments in the twilight of his career. I feel like Dwayne Wade Dwayne Wade retired 3 years ago is what I feel like. And I feel like it should not. I feel like he's still too good. We've talked about it. How good of a season he really had. He can still get buckets. He never really developed a 3-point shot. Never. I feel like he could have had Manu Ginobili's career, the second half of his career, if he wanted. And I feel like he just didn't want that. Which, if that's the case, good for him. Like whatever he's going into, best of luck. But I just feel like I want more out of him, especially for a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer.
Top 20 player ever, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like everyone else, their careers kind of made sense, like how they ended. And Dwayne Wade's, it's like, huh.
It's like
years
the
of
door
nothing.
was closed for Wade, like the door to go out, and he just kind of like opened it himself compared
He's
to
like, I'm out.
compared to Dirk and Kobe, who the door was opened.
But I don't even think the door was closed. Is my thing. I feel like he could play another 3 years at a high level if he really, really wanted to.
That's what I meant. I meant like the door was closed and he's walking to it, and instead of like the door is pretty much him leaving, and instead of getting to the door, he like ran to it, opened it, and just ran out of it instead of actually walking to it and having the door open itself like it did for Dirk, like it did for Kobe.
And like
that kind of
and
sense.
and Miami fans are notorious for being very fair weather. But like even like they were showing him mad love last night, and it just seemed like he was like, yeah, this is it. Whereas with Dirk, it was a playoff, cheer every time he scored. Anytime he checked in the game, got to the scores table.
Didn't he have the first 10 points for Dallas last
I believe
night?
so. Yeah, he was going for it. He might have even he got a lot of shots up.
I think he got like 23 or 20, something around there.
And then he broke down on the court mid-game because they showed a tribute video to like what he'd done in the community, like just real genuine emotion. And I did not feel that at all with Dwayne on the other side of Miami, Dwayne Wade. Whereas Dirk, it just felt real and it felt genuine, much like how Kobe's did. I feel like Dwayne deserved a better send-off. I don't know. I feel like he kind of cheated himself out of a send-off by trying to like force us onto it, the whole one last dance thing.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So after I got done watching the Dirk tribute, which is post-game, flipped to TNT, the end of the Rockets Thunder game. I'm sure you saw the Paul George game winner. Rockets could have moved up to the number 2 last night with the Nuggets loss. Rockets lost, obviously. They can now, as you said, fall down to the 4.
Yeah. If Portland wins, I believe they could move up to the 4, but they also could get the 2 if Denver loses. So tonight it's more of just like a jockeying for most positions. The only one fighting for something is Detroit and Charlotte.
Who do they play tonight?
Charlotte plays Orlando, and Detroit plays the Knicks.
And Detroit recently just ruled out Blake Griffin with a knee injury tonight, so they must not be worried about the Knicks at all. Can't blame them. They barely beat the Memphis G League team last night, but it's neither here nor there.
They're up 17-8 on the Warriors, so that could be justification for that. But.
Also, news just came out too. Marcus Smart to miss the first 2 rounds of the NBA playoffs. Big blow to the Celtics. But in my mind, a team that's this young, this deep, this talented, you should be able to weather the storm with that type of injury. Marcus is the heart and soul of that team, but I see a lot of fans kind of freaking out about it. I think they should be able to weather the storm with Hayward and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Terry Rozier, and the list goes on. They have enough talent on that team. That's just my feelings as a Celtics fan. I hope to God I'm right. Because, man, it'll be a long off season if not.
Yeah, that could make or break Kyrie. Kyrie being there, that could make or break a lot. And just after last year almost getting there and then injuries playing a part and then an injury possibly playing another part and the reason why you guys aren't in the finals this year could just
We'll see how it all shakes
be
out.
tough.
So for our next episode, me and Keenan will be back Friday. Playoff predictions, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some All-NBA. Maybe some awards to give out. What do you think?
I'm excited for the awards. The awards will be interesting because there's a lot of close races. And this is like, within the last 3 years, I can say the first time the Warriors could be more vulnerable than people think. Like, they actually could not make the finals and people wouldn't fully be shocked.
I mean, I think this case would be the same last year. They went to Game 7 of the conference finals.
I meant going in. I mean, the Rockets, yeah, I don't know. At least for me, I didn't, because I'm just me, I didn't take them as serious last year, even though they won 65 games, just because the Warriors didn't look as vulnerable to me, but that's just me.
Okay, that's interesting. All right. Anything
This
else?
is prior to the series, actually.
Okay,
taking,
all right,
no,
all
I'm saying,
right.
obviously, they were down 3-1, but I'm saying prior to the series coming into the playoffs.
3-2, right? They didn't
Oh,
go
sorry, they're
3-1.
down 3-2, yeah, my bad.
Yep. All right, I think that's a wrap. Keenan, what you got for us?
Follow us on Instagram at The Warner Brothers and follow us on Twitter at Warner Bros Pod.
All right. This was the Warner Brothers Podcast. See you Friday.